I think it's supposed to be. Uh-oh.
So it's good.
Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bretton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And that is, of course, the professor, cousin Shane over there, who goes by Big Orange Vols on the Twitter machine. What's up, yo, Tennessee Homer?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, I'm seeing a lot of cockiness in the comments, Shane. So I brought this cup back from the floor. How you doing, brother?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I wanted to crawl underneath that couch when I saw that game, brother. I was like, damn, I may be right on my gamblings, but I am way off on my firings. You know what I'm saying, brother? It was a wild, eventful weekend, to say the least, Mike. I will tell you, I was on the edge of the couch the entire time. I mean, it was a little disappointment, and we're going to get to that here a little bit, but there was some very big shining moments, and you led the show off with the biggest one, I think, is that big Gamecock win there in Lexington.
Yeah, and I know you were on the edge of your seat for Arkansas.
Yeah.
Many of us were. So many. Tennessee, so many, Shane, so many. So let's get into the action. Why delay? Well, wait, we do have to delay for just one moment, Shane, because again, you're right. We both nailed our locks.
Yeah.
And you are money on your picks, gambling picks, that is. So if you want to listen to the professor, head on over to MyBookie, the online sports book. That's mybookie.ag today, Shane. They're willing to give the audience one hell of a promotion here.
Yep.
100% of your initial deposit, they'll bonus you whatever you put in there, as long as you put in $50, all the way up to $1,000. So you can have $2,000 in your account today over at MyBookie with the promo code. This is the most important part, Shane. That SEC, that's CHAT SEC over at MyBookie, doubling your initial deposit, Shane. You can't.
Yeah.
You're like just like Beamer. You can't beat them. You know.
No, I was just thinking about that. If they mash it, so let's say put 1,000 in there.
Yes,
that's
sir.
2,000. That'd been 4,000 if you listen to me week one. Doubled that up, 8,000. You know what I'm saying? That's a slightly used Honda Civic from the early 2000s. You know, you could be driving around a vehicle paid for by that SEC podcast. So yeah, hell of a go there.
All right, so let's get into it, Shane. We got some new kind of graphic-y little things here. Hopefully they show up on the screen here because we're putting some time on this one. But South Carolina, Shane, just as we expected, took care of business, whooped Kentucky's ass up there in Lexington 31-6. And wouldn't you know it, Shane, I mean, this I had a good time with this one, Shane, but this is we've never had a 16-team SEC team or league, right?
Right.
South Carolina's in first place, brother. So soak it in. You whooped Kentucky's ass 31-6. No one believed in you. The professor didn't believe in you. I didn't believe in you. Hell, I don't even know if your coach believed in you, but he pretends he did. So, again, South Carolina, number one in the SEC. Just a hell of a performance, Shane. Proving all the doubters wrong. How about this, Shane? South Carolina's defense, they outscored Kentucky's offense in this damn game because they had a pick six. How about this now, Shane? Mark Stoops, he must hate Shane Beamer so damn bad in this football game. He went for it on 4th and short.
Yeah.
On his own side of the field, on the 31-yard line, Shane. He went for and you know, if you're going to go for it, you're going to have the guts to do something like that. You better bring out some kind of play, you know, something unique, maybe something the defense not ready for. What'd they bust out, Shane? Quarterback sneak that went nowhere. I mean, that is the creativity they're working with up there in Lexington, Shane. My God, that was awful. Brock Vandegrift, 3 of 10 passing for 30 yards. Good Lord. He threw a pick six. And how about this, Shane? This Dylan Stewart. I'm sure most of you know that name by now, but if you don't, I think he's the best freshman in the country. True freshman. I really do. I mean, he's unblockable, Shane. Kentucky was shielding 3 guys his way. He was still getting to him. Kyle Kennard on the other end. This may be the best tandem of pass rushers in the country right now, especially after 2 games. So just a ass whooping is what this was.
Brother, you ain't wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't say I was super confident. I was pretty damn confident in this football game. I kind of expected Kentucky to come out here, put South Carolina away, and it was quite the opposite, brother. Now, it was back and forth there for a little bit, but I mean, hats off. If you're giving an MVP, I'm giving it to that entire defense because they just lived in the backfield there. I swear, Brock probably ain't going to sleep for 3 days. He's going to have nightmares just thinking somebody's chasing him again. So, brother, South Carolina, that defense was all over him, and I apologize. I should have let off with this, Mike. Mike.
Here's the clip. No.
Here's the thing. Yeah, you want to play it? Go ahead and play the clip. I'll catch him on the back end here.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No, perfect. I was going to clip what you got to say. But, yeah, let's get to Shane Beamer first.
Yeah.
Right after the game, he didn't mention Cousin Shane by name, but he might as well have. Here's Coach Beamer just soaking in that gloriness of whooping Kentucky's ass for the third year in a row.
Offense, defense, special teams, you talk about gritty, you talk about tough, you talk about competitive. We showed it all today. We said coming on the road, you've got to have great toughness, check. You've got to have great physicality, check. When adversity hits, you got to have great composure, check. And then great togetherness, and we showed that as well. And we talked about getting the game into the fourth quarter and finding a way to win it, and we absolutely did. I love you guys. I think you're fantastic at the jobs you do. But frankly, there were some really false and lazy narratives out there, guys, this week. There was perception coming out of the Old Dominion game, and I get it. It wasn't great. Nobody thought we were going to win 4 games. But not just you guys, everybody out there. I get it. That's why the line, not that I pay attention to gambling lines, but that's why the line continued to get bigger this week, I think, for Kentucky as the week went. I apologize if I just completely violated all protocols, Commissioner Sankey. But there wasn't a lot of belief in this program or in this team coming in here to be able to do what we just did against a really good team that has a veteran defense, I think 10 returning starters, great players, high draft picks, talented receivers. But I told our team on Tuesday that there's perception and there's reality. And the reality was we got a good football team. Reality is that we played really good defense against Old Dominion last week. Reality is we started 3 true freshmen on offense last week and a redshirt freshman quarterback, and they would continue to get better. Reality is that we're really good on special teams, and we got a big-time punter, as we showed today. And ultimately, reality is we got great belief. The 74 young men that came up here, the coaches and staff, this isn't like some surprise. We truly, expected to win this football game, knew it was going to take a lot, knew it was going to take all of us, all 74, and we certainly were able to get it done. What a win.
What a win, Shane. What a win. Are you a believer now in Beamer and the Cox?
I am a believer. And I apologize again. I know Shane Beamer probably blocked me a couple times and then unblocked me, But Mike, you know what? I was looking at the old Google Maps this morning. I said, you know what? Game day's coming to Columbia, and I'm only 3.5 hours away from this thing, Mike. And instead of being a keyboard warrior and saying, I said shit, I talked shit all off season about I thought Beamer would be the first one fired, and I thought after that Old Dominion game they'd just get their ass kicked by Kentucky, and I was wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and say the funny, cute things that Cousin Shane likes to say to try to squirrel out of a deal. But brother, I feel like a little respect is due. So I'm making the trek Friday down to Columbia, South Carolina, and I think the game day is going to be there. I still got to figure out the landscape and all this stuff, but I'm going to wear a sign, and you'll find me. I mean, obviously I'm a big guy anyway, but this big ass sign you're going to see says "I am an idiot." We'll be walking around the streets of Columbia. So let me know where I need to go. You got a tent somewhere with some cold beer. I'm probably going to need one because I'm getting my steps in Saturday, Mike. And I apologize for you, Shane Beamer. I got to find some Pit Viper glasses somewhere, but I will be there Saturday in Columbia.
Yeah. Oh man. Shane told me he was going to do this. I was like, my word. I mean, this is going a step beyond.
Yeah.
To your point. I mean, there's many haters out there. They just turn the page like I never said it. You know what I mean? So you're a man of your word here, and all aboard the Shane train, huh?
Yeah, I got to figure out where everything's at. Looks like it's a little complicated. You know, I mean, it looks good on a map. But then when you start walking that map, Mike, you realize how big that little spot is. I've been to the stadium before, but I'm sure a lot of that stuff's going to be blocked off. So, but hey, tell me where I need to go. I'll be there, and I'd love to catch it. I mean, we've got a lot of cousins out there with South Carolina fans, and you know, I'd like to shake your hand, drink a beer with you.
Yeah, and just, you know, this may shock the hell out of all of y'all, but if you really want Cousin Shane to come by your tailgate, send him some photos of the food you got grilling over here. His ass will be over here in a heartbeat.
It's not complicated. It's not rocket science here, okay?
So, yeah, Coach of the Week, Shane Beamer, what a job. Shout out Sellers. You know, he didn't have a greatest. Here's the thing, Shane. I mean, Kentucky outrushed South Carolina 139-86.
Yeah.
And still whoop their ass. I mean, it was all about this defense, and Sellers had himself a day too. He bounced back, even though he had one mistake there in the ball game. But man, just a complete domination. Mm-hmm. And now Kentucky fans are starting to see what I've been saying. They got themselves a C coach over there.
Yeah.
Let's kick it over to Mark Stoops. I mean, they said last year, they never seen him take a loss so hard as he did last year, losing to South Carolina. What's he got to say after losing 3 in a row here?
You know, last week after our game, I sat here and said I hadn't been through anything like that in my time here, and this week I could kind of feel the exact same way. You know, we've been beaten, you know, pretty badly by some really good football teams, and but I felt like our team always fought back. You know, always, you know, we talk about it all the time. You get punched, you get hit, you know, you swing back. And very disappointed and, you know, not happy with us, our coaching, our response, the way we played. You know, last week I thought, you know, under all those chaotic circumstances, you know, we played relatively clean, like we've coached them. And today it didn't look like we're a very well-coached team, and it didn't look like a team that really wanted to respond. And, you know, no coach speak here, that's you know, 100% on me, you know, and on us. No excuses.
No excuses, Shane. No excuses for that dreadful performance. And now we got to flip it. And this is what I've been saying for a long time. This is the last year of Mark Stoops. You know, to an extent, Shane, I think he's a victim of his own success because he's raised the bar at Kentucky, but they're not going anywhere with this guy. No, I mean, again, great guy, all that, yada, yada, yada. He can't win a big game. Yeah. And when he does, he drops one he shouldn't, just like he did on Saturday. And not only did they drop it, Shane, this comes after his pony up, challenges the fans to pay up all this money. And what do? They get a quarterback from Georgia. They get the starting middle linebacker from Georgia. They keep their receivers. They're getting linemen. They're getting running back. They ponied up for his ass.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to lose to South Carolina at home. It's another to get your doors blown off. And that's what happened to Kentucky on Saturday.
Mike, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like the old definition of insanity. You do the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We're not getting different results, Mike. We're getting the same stupid results. And I feel like that's why Kentucky fans are so frustrated. You know, they went into this game not just expecting to win, but to blow the doors off of South Carolina, and it was quite the opposite. And at times, I'm watching this game, and it felt like there was 14 kids on South Carolina's defense. I'm like, that's coaching, Mike. I'm not saying that South Carolina didn't do a great job on defense, but there was nothing. There was no adjustments during this entire game, it felt like. And we walked away with, 70 yards passing? I mean, you talked about the rushing, but their passing was god-awful. I said a little prayer every time Brock went back, you know? Yeah. I was like, he's going to get killed. I know he may be the biggest quarterback in the country, but damn, this kid's going to be dead by the end of the game.
Right, and then, right around the corner, Shane, next to conference games for Kentucky, Georgia and Ole Miss. So now's the time. Now's the time to rally.
It gets a little easier, right?
It's like, good Lord, what's going to happen if they get – I'm not saying, it's not a lock by any means, but what happens if they get blown out in those two games?
Yeah.
I believe there's a bye week. Yeah, a bye week. Again, this may be a bit premature, Shane, but let's say they get their doors blown off by Georgia and Ole Miss, and they got that bye week. God, could they be firing Mark Stoops that early, or I don't know, man.
I never thought, honestly, we talked about this, and this is part of the reason I'm making this trek down to Columbia. But I never thought Stoops would be fired midseason. But I'm starting to wonder, because it wasn't that they lost; it was that they lost embarrassingly. And it felt like as I'm watching this squad that we're watching Vanderbilt from 3 years ago. That's how bad it was. So I am worried because, like you said, it doesn't get easier. You got Georgia, you got Ole Miss. For everything that we said about Shane Beamer coming into this game, now you look at Kentucky's schedule and you're like, oh shit, yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg, boys.
Well, what do you know, buddy? Speaking of. By
the way, I've had some already offering to send the bourbon my way.
Just sending it in advance.
Yeah, just go ahead. I feel bad. I'm like, just get the cheapest kind,
Speaking of the tip of the iceberg, though, I had a perfect segue there, Shane. You jumped right on it. But Tennessee, we may have just seen the beginning of how good this damn team is here. Whoops the hell at a NC State 51-10 in Charlotte. Shane, and I think this sums it up better than anything. Very concise. Tennessee, I think if you're being honest with yourself, they played a B-type game.
Yeah.
Maybe B-. NC State, top 25. Cole Kublik has this as a college football playoff team. Tennessee just beat them by 41 away from Neyland Stadium. So, again, this doesn't mean crown the Vols necessarily, but a complete and utter domination, if you can see the stats on the screen. NC State, how about this, Shane? They started 3 for 3 on third downs. They went right up the field. Then they went 0 for 12 on third down the rest of the game. Completely obliterated by this Tennessee defense, which had 13 tackles for loss, was all over their quarterback all game long. And the key to the game, everybody hypes up Nico, and he's amazing. He's great. He didn't have that great a game. Here's the key, Shane. Tennessee rushing 249 yards. NC State rushing 39. 249 to 39. Tennessee is strong in the trenches.
Yep.
And that's why they're a playoff contender to me.
Brother, I think that's it, man. And there's reason for optimism in Knoxville, man, because it's not just a scoreboard. You may have just looked at the notes or the box score and said, Tennessee beat them, But if you actually watch this game, they beat the shit out of them. It wasn't, these guys did whatever. They could have been 100 points if they wanted to do it. I felt like at times, brother. This was utter domination. And what I like to see too, Mike, is I saw progression, even though, they did make some mistakes. You talk about Nico's 2 picks, but again, if you watch some of those, one of them wasn't really his fault, and the second one, I said it wasn't his fault because I'm already crowning him as one of the Heisman candidates. But I felt like there was moments in this game where I saw something I don't see from some of these other young quarterbacks, and that is not giving up. The play is always going. There was one that didn't even show up on the stat line. They got called back because of a penalty, found a guy downfield. It's like people weren't, these mobile quarterbacks especially, they just want to tuck and go and try to get 5 or 6 yards. Nico is always looking for the best play, and that's a sign to me of how good he can be, especially when he starts figuring all this out. But hell of a win for them Tennessee Vols for sure.
Right.
And the defense. We talked all offense, but, brother, the defense didn't give up, 2-point-something yards per play? They were like a blanket out there, too. So we just talked about how great South Carolina's defense. You got to point out Tennessee's defense. They were living in the backfield there at NC State.
Right, and I realize different teams, so we shouldn't necessarily honor what happened last year or the bowl game or anything like that, but same defensive coordinator, so shout out Tim Banks. 3 consecutive games, but obviously just 2 this season, Shane, without allowing a touchdown. NC State got to 10, but that was because of a pick 6. And I did want to shout out freshman running back Deshaun Bishop, Shane, who attempted to run down the pick 6 and damn near got it. But again, it's those little moments in the game that yeah, again, NC State scored a touchdown, so we're not glorifying that. But the fact that guy runs 90 some odd yards to attempt to make the tackle, you don't see that on every team. And hell, we didn't see it in this game because Tennessee had themselves a pick six. Shout out Will Brooks, 85-yard pick six, and NC State just gave up on the play.
Yeah.
So it's those little signs you see in a football game of one team believing, one team with the buy-in, one team with a championship mindset, and the other just getting smoked right in front of their face who thought they had a shot in this ball game. But really, I mean, this is a legit playoff contender and one that is maybe sneaky good in the ACC for whatever the hell that to me, that's not worth anything.
No. I mean, I even saw Jolly Kid. You remember him? He played at UConn last year. I was like, damn, I made a joke that we should have gave him a Chick-fil-A bag here at halftime, and I thought he'd be something. They had all these quote-unquote weapons coming into this football game, and Tennessee just snubbed every one of them.
Hey, shout out, missed this one. Apologies. But
Hey, thanks, cuz.
Cousin Johnny says, I'm just glad the professor has built up so much tenure over the years there. So shout out you, Cousin John. Appreciate that one. But, yeah, so, again, I'm throwing up a schedule right here. And, again, I mean, this damn college football, Shay, this is why we love it, right?
Yeah.
Last week, South Carolina looked like garbage.
Right.
They just whooped Kentucky's ass. So it's stupid to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, Oklahoma, that's easy. Arkansas, easy. But just the fact that Tennessee went here and won 51-10 over a game that many have pegged as, maybe the third or fourth toughest they're going to face.
Yeah.
I mean, how optimistic are you just looking ahead to the rest of the season with games, huge games at Georgia, at Alabama, at Oklahoma, at Arkansas. But, how optimistic are you looking at this schedule?
Super. There's only one game I'm worried about right now. It's Georgia. I mean, if you seriously watch this game and you watch the others, we're going to get to Oklahoma here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get to Arkansas, Florida, these teams that are on the schedule. But other than Georgia Bulldogs, man, I mean, I see a real shot that Tennessee goes 11-1 here.
Buddy.
Am I being too optimistic here?
I don't think so. And I think that's the dangerous part for potentially the rest of the SEC. But again, it's early. 2 games.
Hey, we don't have Texas on the schedule. We don't have Ole Miss on the schedule. We don't have LSU. There's good teams that prop Mizzou that would give Tennessee a fit, I would imagine. But looking at Tennessee's schedule, this is the one game that people said, hey, you can't afford to drop it. Well, they didn't drop it. They dropped the damn bag on them, man.
Well, speaking of one of those teams you just mentioned, Shane, shout out my Texas Longhorns. Come on, brother. Just went up to Michigan, blew their doors off 31-12. Michigan got to score late to make it look somewhat respectable. And this was with Texas starting a little slow, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And I say that, and they completely dominated this football game, Shane. 10 of 16 on third downs, held Michigan to 3 of 12. The rushing favored Texas 143-80. Mm-hmm. This game's won in the red zone, though, Shane. Texas 4 for 4, 24 points. Michigan 1 of 1 for 3 points. And how about Quinn Ewers, my favorite quarterback, Shane? 24-36, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is – I pegged him yesterday.
Yeah.
On my power ranking show. Of course, I drink on that show. But I think he's the favorite today to win the Heisman. Am I wrong?
No. I think this is going to be on the highlight reel. The kid was on fire. And honestly, I'm watching this game. One of the things that I was thinking in the back of my mind, you said, what are the odds? I can't remember which cousin asked. Is there a chance that Texas jumps Georgia when the AP poll comes out? And I'm like, I mean, right this moment, I've not seen Georgia or anything, but I was at this moment. I said, they're making a pretty strong case right now, brother. This team looks really, really good. And when you're talking about potential college football playoff team, I'm talking potential college football playoff championship team here, Mike. That's how good Texas looks.
And everything we say about the offense, I mean, we could say it just as much as the defense too, right? I mean, I get it, different personnel, different coaches and all that.
Yeah.
But going on the road, having your fans take over a stadium, that defense made Michigan look like trying to think of an analogy here. Like a Sun Belt type team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just completely obliterated them it looked like a FCS on offense to me.
What I liked about it, Mike, is we've all watched those games that it just felt like we couldn't get a team off on third down. You know what I'm saying? And it felt the opposite. When Michigan hit third down, you just knew punt team better get ready because they're about to come in there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I didn't even see the stat. I don't know what their third down efficiency was, but man, that was me. It was the
3 of 12.
3 of 12. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The pivotal stops is what made the big deal for me. And if you talk about championship teams, it's when the big moments come. What do you do? And Texas just did what? I mean, they shouldn't have gave up any points, Mike. I tell you, this defense is a damn steel curtain, son.
And now, each week just it gets bigger and bigger. Looking at, I know this is so far in advance, Shane, but Texas hosting Georgia October 19th. It just doesn't get any better than that. You know what?
Mike, it's sad. I'm looking at this schedule. We probably ain't going to talk Texas until October 12th, are we?
Man. We got one guy that wants to talk. Let's kick it over to Sark real quick, who shouts out his team for this dominating performance. Remember, they had a 23-game winning streak up there, Shade. They got that anymore, brother.
As well. So all in all, super proud of our team in a tough building against a tough team that over 111,000 people here today. But I got to give credit to Longhorn Nation. Y'all showed out, man. That was awesome. What an environment. What a moment for our players and our staff to sing the Eyes of Texas there at the end with the amount of orange in the stands was really a special moment for our players. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier in the week, this one game isn't going to define our season, but I think it would serve as a pretty good barometer of the type of team that we could be. And, I think that our versatility showed up today in all three phases. Our ability to run it, be physical, our ability to play the run on defense, but yet minimize the explosive plays on defense and be effective on special teams. So all in all, it's a good start to the season. We're 2-0, but we got a long way to go.
Long way to go, Shane. He's already got that Saban in him. He's putting that behind him. You know what?
That rat poison floating around there. Guys like me. So, no, man, he's saying the right things, but brother, it was a good showing. We had a lot of cousins up there sending pictures before the games, and it really looked like they had a great time. It's always great when you make a trek like that and you win. You know what I'm saying? Driving to Michigan and then losing, that would have sucked. But, that was a nice ride home.
Well, some of our fans actually got to experience that themselves, Shane.
Yeah.
Let's kick it over to the heartbreaker of the day here. Oh. Arkansas loses to Oklahoma State 39-31 in overtime game, a matchup that Arkansas just completely dominated for the most part. I mean, yardage, Shane, 648 yards Arkansas had, 385 Oklahoma State had. How about rushing, Shane? Arkansas, 232 rushing yards. Oklahoma State had 59. Third downs, Arkansas was 11 of 19. That's winning football. Oklahoma State was 5 of 16. How in the hell do you lose a game like this? Well, you turn it over 3 times. And again, we love Sam Pittman, but it is what it is. And I'm not sitting here saying he should be fired because this team's night and day different. And I still have him in the top half of the SEC power rankings because I don't know that half the teams in this conference could have went into Oklahoma State and had a big lead like that. But they did give the game away, and they're now 2-10 in their last 12 games of one possession matchups here. So that's a truly horrific statistic. But man, where are you at here, Shane? Because I know you were on cloud 9.
Yeah,
you predicted it, and you were looking like a damn genius once again. But it just came crumbling down on us.
Mike, I had a video queued up that I told you they'd have a sizable lead, 17 points. Then they'd let this thing become a ball game toward the end. Man, if they had a damn kicker, they would have had that 17 points. We went to overtime. So that's where I'm at. And it's easy, Mike. I'm glad I removed myself from that football game for a minute. Took 24 hours to think about what I wanted to say because when I think about big picture, Arkansas looked tremendous Arkansas looked great. I love some of the play calling. There's one I was thinking about. It was like 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5 or something like that. I don't know, 3rd and some distance. And last year, Enos would have ran a draw and then punted this thing. Yeah. Bobby P said, "Hey, let's let this thing loose." And now we've got a quarterback we have confidence in. Was there mistakes? Absolutely. And I know Sam he's getting all the pointing, but Sam didn't fumble the damn football. Sam did, right. Maybe hire special teams coach. I don't know who that is, but that joker needs to be put on blast this week, because how many times did you see an Arkansas guy almost interfering a kickoff return or a punt return? That's infuriating. That's the coaching mistakes that I saw in this football game. So I'm not totally pissed, because I still think they got something nice here, Mike. There was moments in this game that defense played tremendous. There was moments in this game that Green looked like a damn Heisman winner. The running game was going. There's moments, brother, and there's something to build off a top 25 matchup. Do you want the victory? Absolutely. Did Arkansas need the victory? Absolutely. They needed it, brother. But that schedule, now that I'm looking at it through 2 weeks, some of these games that I had penciled the loss, I'm like, hey, this could be a coin toss because of what I've seen up to this point.
Cousin Ken says, Cousin Shane in here firing coaches.
Special teams, get his ass out of here. I would rather go 11 on block, you know what I'm saying, and just let the ball go wherever. That second punt, I can't say his name. How you say his name? Satania, yeah, real cool name. So the first one, the guy comes into it and he catches it. I'm like, hey, whoa, we got away with one. But the second one, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in here? Sorry, Mom. I know it's Sunday. I shouldn't have said that. But that's how I felt. It's like, come on, fool me once, shame on you. Do it again. The special team should have said, listen, do not be back there. I don't want to just go full block. There shouldn't be anybody back there until we work on special teams all week. So
now here's the critical part, though, Shane.
Yeah.
They can look better. They can be better. I mean, I'm basically convinced they're miles better than they were last year, right? Mm-hmm. But the last 2-ish years, they have crumbled when it mattered the most. How will this team respond? Because we're going to find out. We're going to find out how bought in they are with Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino. I'm pretty sure they're bought in on Travis Wood, because that defense, my God, all we had to hear all offseason. That's why he was my prize pick selection. Cashed in another one, but under for running back Ollie Gordon, right? Mm-hmm. 21 touchdowns. He was largely ineffective. I mean, I think he had like 30 yards in the game.
Yeah.
The defense, I think, is locked in. I think the offense clearly is locked in. It's just mistakes. The pick six killed them. There was a drop right before the pick six was a dropped touchdown. It was one of the best. Shout out T-Bob. He's put it. Taylor Green had the most incredible incompletion I've ever seen in my life, and that sums it up perfectly. I mean, he went hero ball, put it right in the damn receiver's hands. He dropped it. You make a play like that. I think the score would have been 21-3 or 21-0 or something like that. That would have been the dagger.
Yeah.
But Arkansas, where they're at right now, a swing like that didn't necessarily kill them. Those turnovers and other thing killed them, but making those plays. That's what's missing for Arkansas. It's putting them down, not letting them back in it, and they let them back in it, obviously. But how will this team respond? We got a UAB coming up, and then we got a crucial game with Auburn. Auburn has kicked our ass last year.
I'm sorry.
And this, I mean, again, we'll get to Auburn in a second, but you're telling me if Arkansas plays as well as they did on Saturday, they can beat Auburn as long as they don't beat themselves, and they could probably beat A&M too.
Yeah. Mike, you put up, 100 points? 100 points in 2 games.
Yeah.
Things are doing okay. It's just you got to clean up the dumb mistakes. And I know that's easy to say because you've seen the dumb mistakes made in years past, but this is a different football team, Mike. If you don't feel that, then you weren't watching the game. UAB is a winnable game. Auburn is a winnable game. A&M is a winnable game. October 5th, there's a real shot Arkansas rolls into that thing 4-1, And then all of a sudden we're back on. We're
Right.
not jumping on there talking about, oh, shit, Arkansas, we need a new coach. It's like, get off that. This is your team. We ain't going to fire them right now. And even if we did, it's not going to help anything. Let's
Right.
get behind it. Let's get behind these boys. I feel like it's there, Mike. There's a few things that you got to clean up. Stupid mistakes. You can't help that. But one of the biggest concerns I had with Green was interceptions. And one thing I'm seeing is a lot of poise from him, man. I mean, the guy is not just going out here slinging the rock like Brett Favre, praying to God that he catches. If I'm feeling the progression, I feel like Bobby Petrino's in that helmet helping him out. There's a lot of good things going on, but there's just some stuff we got to work on. Defense is no different. We got to get pressure. That's one thing we talked about, the hitman. Hell, I ain't seen the hitman. Where's he at? Why ain't he getting these sacks like I was promised?
Right. And again, I'm not calling him out because, my God, Shane, he had 416 passing yards, 61. I mean, Taylor Green's amazing. But there's plays to be made. Quentin Jackson had 3 touchdowns, 149 yards. Andrew Armstrong, 10 catches, 164 yards. Bobby Petrino's wheeling and dealing, and even in overtime, they had a wide open touchdown they missed.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the plays that got to be made in these crucial games, and they're just out of reach.
Yeah.
If we can get them in reach, we can get on a roll here. I ain't giving up. Just like Cousin Justin here. Appreciate you, Cousin Justin. He says, being a Razorback fan is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Still a diehard. 3-1 going into A&M. That's what I like to see right there. And Cousin Tim says, Cousin Shane, Mom is calling you.
Oh, no, I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry about that, kids. Sorry.
Well, you know what you should have done, Shay? You should have went over to MyBookie and started a new account, put in that promo code, that SEC, that's THAT, SEC, over at mybookie.ag today. Sign up for a free account, and that promo code, that SEC, they're willing to match your initial deposit 100%, Shane, all the way up to $1,000. You just got to put in a bare minimum of $50 with that promo code, that SEC, over at MyBookie. And you know who should have done it, Shane?
Who's that?
Anybody that hates Hugh Freeze. Come on, what the hell are we doing here, Hugh Freeze? He may be who I thought he was, Shade, here. My God, this was the biggest just disappointment, I thought, or just shocking result here. Cal goes into Auburn, beats them Tigers 21-14. Anybody that missed it, Cal trolling the SEC after this one said, it just means more. I about cried when I saw that, Shane. But how about this stat? Auburn is 18-23 since they let go of Gus Malzahn. Cal's defense was suffocating in this one, Shane. 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions. My goodness. Peyton Thorne had 4 picks, should have had 5. They took one off the board for a bogus PI. But, man, fans they're out. And this is crazy, Shane. I guess it's not crazy. This is SEC. We're crazy down here. But this is how things go. And you saw it firsthand. And I'm not trying to call you out specifically because all these fans have seen it. But you remember Tennessee fans, they were out on Garantano. Mm-hmm. And then when Pruitt stuck with and would refuse to put in a new quarterback, they turned on Pruitt. And they are starting to turn. I think, hell, they've been turned on Peyton Thorne. I think they've just been lying to themselves. And now they're starting to turn, some of them I'm seeing, on Hugh Freeze, who has just not – I mean, hell, he could have had Cam Ward, Shane. I don't know how close it was, but that's the guy. I ain't paying $1 million for a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Well, he's whooping Florida's ass and all this. I mean, how good would Auburn be right now if they had that guy? I don't know, but this is an awful, awful loss, and it doesn't kill Auburn, but it significantly halts the momentum for the time being here because, again, how many – now that we know you – and not only did you lose – this was not a fluke loss, Shane. This was getting dominated on the line of scrimmage. Couldn't stop them running the ball. We came right out, Shane, and scored a touchdown. It was like, oh, God, they could score 70 points again. And then they didn't score till the very end of the ball game with about 10 minutes left. Aside from New Mexico, which is next week, and aside from ULM –
yeah.
Every one of these damn teams can beat Auburn if they play like they did on Saturday.
Buddy. A lot of people are saying, I wish we had touchdown Robbie back. You know what I'm saying? That's where Auburn's at. And I feel for them because you're seeing guys that were in that portal, that they didn't want to spend money for, having a lot of success. You mentioned Ward, but look at freaking Diego. He was there. You remember him, don't you, Hugh Freeze? You got a loss by him last year. How can you not watch that game and say, you know what? Wouldn't hurt to have that kid on the roster. Oh, he's in the portal. Let's give him a call at least, see what he wants. Oh, Vanderbilt. How much you think Vandy paid him? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there's a part of me that gets frustrated on that side of things because it's not embracing the portal like the other coaches are. But then when you see the game like this one and throw, what was it, 5 interceptions, 5 turnovers, 4 picks or something like that.
Right, that's what it was. And
he
should have
ran
been
for
one
his
more.
life the whole time. It was just like, again, it felt like we were going against freaking New England Patriots or the Steelers or something. It felt like an NFL going against a college team at times. And you shouldn't do that as an Auburn program that is supposed to be better. It's supposed to be on the rise, brother. We ain't on the rise. We got a lot of work ahead there on the Plains.
Hell, Taylor Green, Shane. Imagine him in this offense. They're saying in the comments, KJ. I mean, we can name about 1,000 quarterbacks. That would be an upgrade over here. It seems like. You know what?
What do they do? I mean,
I got an idea, Shane.
Please.
We got our last clip here. He doesn't say it outright, but I'll say it for him. Let's kick it over to you after this one.
I was hoping we were further along. I knew this would be a good test for us, no matter what people said. They're a very senior-laden football team and play extremely hard and are well coached. And their quarterback played lights out in the first half. And the positive that I guess if we can take anything from it is that our defense, I thought, really, really improved as the game went on in the second half and gave us chances. Their special teams played really well in the third quarter and kept us pinned. But you cannot turn the ball over 5 times and expect to beat really anybody. And we never got in any kind of sync offensively, and that's very disappointing and frustrating to me, and it rests with me, and I've got to figure that out for us.
Shane, here's the idea. Fire the offensive coordinator. Oh, wait, that's Hugh Freeze.
Wait.
Oh, no. We got no one left to blame here, Shane, but the man himself. Oh, buddy.
Mike, I hate it for him because I did feel like after that first score, Mike, I was right there with you. I was like, oh, buddy, they're back. Auburn is back. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, God, Hugh is still there. Hugh Freeze is still doing his thing. So, no, I feel bad for this fan base. It was at home. And the coach is going to say the right things that, oh, this team is great, whatever. Cal ain't winning shit over there, Mike. You know what I'm saying? This is the best game that they're going to have. And they made a mockery of the SEC yet again.
Now, I did joke, but it's a joke, but it's dead serious, too. This is what Hugh Freeze does, Shane. He loses to Cal. You watch. He'll turn around. He'll beat Georgia or Bama or something. He just does this crazy stuff that makes no sense. And I know that sounds insane, but that is just a Hugh Freeze experiment right there. And he'll rope him right back in when he does it. You know what?
I swear, man, it drives me nuts. Him and Peyton Thorne are so close, too. They call each other every night. I wonder what he's saying, like, if you don't start me, I'm going to release that video.
Well, maybe some of that's going on here, Shay, because this game, I rewatched it. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment this morning, Shane. I wanted to go in a little bit deeper dive and say, what in the hell happened to, you know it, trying to find my little score here. Them Oklahoma Sooners. Oh my God, Shane, 16-12 over Houston. I'm going to read you. I don't have it on the screen, but I'll read it for you here, Shane. Here's the Oklahoma drive chart. Punt, touchdown, but it was just a 10-yard drive because it was right after turnover. Punt, touchdown, punt, interception, punt, missed field goal, punt. And that was the end of the game right there. I mean, what in the hell are we doing here, Shade? 4 of 14 on third down. I believe they were like 1 for 12 in the first game against god-awful Temple. So we're something like 5 of 26 on a season on third down. We can't run the ball. Ran the ball for 75 yards on god-awful Houston. Here's where the game was actually won, though. Red zone. Oklahoma went down there twice, got 14 points. Houston, 1 red zone trip, got 3. So there's your swing of the game. At least you're executing in the red zone. That is beyond the defense, which got you a safety at the end. Otherwise, you wouldn't have got to 16 points. The defense and executing in the red zone is all the nice things I can say about Oklahoma right now.
Defense. That's me, man. And I'm afraid to say this, Mike, but if there were about 3 more minutes in this football game, we'd probably be talking about an Oklahoma loss. That's kind of what it felt like. It almost felt like we were playing keep away the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of this football game, Mike. It was absolutely ugly. I feel bad for Oklahoma fans because they haven't even gotten to the meat of their schedule yet. They just barely survived Houston, and they're saying, oh, shit, we got the SEC to run through now. Brother, they're going to have to tighten up real quick on that offensive side of football. There's nothing. There's no playmaking. You know, at times Jackson looks really good, and at times it's like, why are you throwing this again? And then I got to say, well, he's young, you know, it's a young kid mistake. That's what I'm saying. But then I see other young kids making better decision making. So I don't know. I'm torn on Oklahoma because I feel like this is arguably one of the best defenses in this conference, but it's paired between one of the most volatile offenses to go with it.
Now, maybe you could swing it. Again, this is the same thing I said last week, Shane, where, you know, maybe these red flags won by 50 points. I said, well, I will improve. You know, that's not going to deter us. And then we regress week 2. Now, maybe it's a one-off. They got some linemen that are hurt. They got some receivers that are hurt. Jackson Arnold's still coming along. He was making some nice plays. He made some big-time mistakes, too. So he's just... You know, that's what you get with a young quarterback. Mm-hmm. You're going to take your bumps. But the thing that is the most disturbing is you expect that against a Texas, a Bama, you know, an LSU perhaps, but not Houston.
No.
You know what I mean? So, again, a win's a win. You're 2-0. South Carolina just proved you can flip a switch in a hurry. But they better do it pretty quick here because they got them Tennessee Vols rolling into town in 2 weeks, and that's not looking pretty. If they can't score more than 14 points, they don't have a prayer against Tennessee.
No, and it's stupid decisions. It's decision making, not just with the quarterback, but there at the end of the game. You know, there was a moment that they just needed to run the clock out. You know, they could have, I think, took an extra 20 seconds off the clock, and then we wouldn't even had to worry about Houston being this thing. And that big guy, I saw him getting fired up, man. Looked like me getting kicked off the buffet there at my favorite Chinese restaurant. I've been there, but then I saw that helmet come off, and I was like, damn it, here we go. Personal foul, stop the clock. And I was like, man, what are you doing? You don't realize you're hurting the entire team. So, but again, these are things that there's going to be growing pains on that side of this football, Mike. You know, unfortunately, we don't have too much time to kind of ramp this thing up, but they're going to have to grow up real quick here in the next couple of weeks because, like you said, Tennessee is coming. Yeah,
and shout out for anybody who missed it, exactly what Shane was saying. I mean, the game was over.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma offensive lineman got a personal foul, stopped the clock. They had to punt it. Could have cost them the damn game. They're lucky they got a hell of a defense, but shout out the Sooner Scoop guys. I was, you know, anytime a fan base is in panic mode, Shane, I love to watch their content. Just got done with the Kentucky Sports after show myself, but they basically said, hell, that kid, that lineman should not play next week, but we literally don't have anyone else to put in there, so he's back in the lineup. So that is not a good situation, obviously, to be in. You know what?
No, it is not.
Well, speaking of a bad situation, Shane, oh, my God. I was all aboard, national championship or bust. Now I'm wondering, God, how good is this team really, Shane? How good is that Alabama Crimson Tide? Yeah, they beat South Florida 42-16. But if you're just looking at that score and say, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? This blows my mind, Shane. The score of this game was 21-16. With 6:45 remaining in the contest. This was neck and neck for 3.5 quarters here. South Florida, they outrushed Alabama. They had 206 rushing yards on Alabama. Alabama had 194, so a good showing by them. But third downs, Bama could not stay on the field. 5 of 13. they won the game because South Florida was 2 of 18 on third down. So, good for Bama's defense, but that's doing what you should be doing. And turnovers. Turnovers killed Alabama. They had 3 turnovers. That certainly kept South Florida in this thing. But let me ask you this, Shane, because again, a week ago I'm saying, my God, this team's going to playoff. They're going to beat Georgia here in a couple weeks. I think I was dumb enough to say that. And this was another one where they were honoring the Saban and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible, DeBoer? I mean, this is becoming a distraction to me. I mean, we got Saban at every damn game. We're honoring the field to him. And here we got this guy trying to replace in his shadow. I'm not saying Saban should go away or anything, but I don't think it can be helping. Do you?
I think he should go away, Mike. And I guess you really need to ask, what does Saban want? Does Saban want to help this squad? Then I think you kind of remove yourself from it for a little bit. Let DeBoer have a chance, an opportunity to create his own identity. Or do you always want to be remembered as a GOAT? Well, then my ass is going to be sitting on the sideline looking at my football field, shaking my head no every time something bad happens. So I think this is really Nick Saban's call. Nobody's going to tell Coach what to do. And kind of what you said about Oklahoma, they're 2-0. And if you're looking at the stat line, obviously this wasn't a perfect game, but it's a very coachable game. I felt like week 1, there was some mistakes, but we didn't really get to learn anything. It's tough to teach off a 2-play drive. This one, we had some bumps in the road, and I feel like this is coachable material, and I feel like Alabama will be better for it after this matchup. But I told you coming into this game, Mike, it was going to be a dogfight, didn't I?
Yeah, I thought it'd be a 50-point win.
No, and I think you're looking at another coach there in South Florida that may find his way in the SEC sooner than later.
So who hires Alex Golesh first, Kentucky or Florida?
Florida was the hot one, but if Kentucky can get their hands on him, they'd be nuts not to. They would be nuts. The kid's an excellent football coach, man.
Now I'll really be worried though, Shane. Next week we're going to Wisconsin.
Yeah, big
time matchup. If Saban gets a sweet in Wisconsin on the road or is on the sideline, I'm like, oh, buddy, this is going to be disaster. You know what?
Yeah, then. You know exactly what his agenda is if you see that.
All right, how about this one, Shane? For anybody that stayed up, this was, they kept fighting, but Arizona State beats Mississippi State 30-23. Mm-hmm. Back and forth type game, but in reality, Arizona State, Shane, was up 30-3 in the third quarter. Their running back went for 262 rushing yards by himself. Old Cam Scatterboo. They kept calling him Christian McCaffrey Jr., and that was killing me the 20th time they said that. But, again, Mississippi State, I think they kind of are who we thought they were. Explosive on offense. They had a nice little comeback. It was 30-3, but they crawled back and made it interesting there late in the fourth quarter. They got an explosive offense. They got a defense that I think is going to have real issues in conference play. But, again, it's late. It was 100 degrees, something like that. They didn't – there's no quitting this team, so I do like that. But this is troubling because we said I think you really needed to get that one to get to a bowl game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you needed it for a bowl, but also I felt like we got a little peek behind the curtain. I always considered it when I worked at a grocery store, we called it showing off. Like when you get the cans, you bring them all to the front, but you look behind there and then there's nothing. You think that whole row's full of canned Bush's beans, and then you take the first one off, and you're like, oh shit, this thing's empty. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Mississippi State first layer has got a good football team, but as some injuries start happening, as some depth issues start happening, I feel like it's going to get exposed a little bit later in the season. But the nice thing is, Mike, we're seeing these little moments where we're saying, hey, man, Lebby can work here. We just got to get his dudes in here. We got to build this roster up. Mississippi State's going to be back. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of best case scenario. But how about this one, Shane? And all of a sudden, these fans are bought back in, Shane. Come on, give it to them. Florida takes it to Sanford, 45-7. And I want to shout out these Gator fans, Shane. It couldn't have been tough. all week, just getting bashed on, just be humiliated. And I don't know if it was a sellout, but it looked like it to me. It was damn close. And week 2 playing Sanford, that's an accomplishment. But I think they were all there, Shane, to see DJ Lagway. Come on. The true freshman, Shane. 18 of 25, 456 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. How about this stat, Shane? Graham Mertz completed 5 passes of 40 or more yards last season.
Yeah.
The whole season, 5 passes of 40-plus yards. DJ did it in 1 game here. And I know it's Sanford, what have you, but his first career start, he's got the record now, Shane, for most passing yards by a freshman quarterback in Florida history, and he did it in his first damn start. How about old DJ Lagway, Shane?
Well, enjoy Florida. You ain't gonna see him for a while. I think Coach is gonna put him back on the bench. Can only play him 4 times this season, something like that. So Sanford was a good showcase, brother. I mean, there wasn't a lot to take away from this game other than DJ and what could be, and there was some interesting tosses, man. I will say the least. He's got a hell of a release on him, but there was kind of that little well, is it time? You know what I'm saying? And the first time that Mertz runs into, let me ask you this, Mike. Just if you had your truth serum on right now, and you said, Week 3, who's the starting quarterback for the Florida Gators? Who you thinking right now?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind, and Billy's backed it up with his comments. I mean,
I know.
This is not even debatable, and this is why he's a complete moron. But Billy Napier, after the game, said, going to stay the course with DJ Mertz / Lagway. So what he's referring to is sticking with the plan. Graham Mertz is our starting quarterback, and nothing has changed that, which I kind of get in one sense, but your job is on the line here.
Yeah.
And you have to sell promise. You have to sell hope. And here's the best way to put it, Shane. I'm going to throw up Florida's schedule here. Without even seeing these next 3 games, who scares you as a Tennessee fan come October 12th? Would it be Graham Mertz in the lineup, or would it be DJ Lagway?
DJ Lagway, without a doubt. Not even close.
Right. And again, that's not Graham Mertz is a fine player. Yeah, he's better than several starting quarterbacks in other teams across the SEC, but we know kind of the ceiling there.
Yeah.
We don't know what DJ Lagway, he could be top 5 in the country for all we know. Now that's going probably way too far, but by next season he's probably there if he continues to progress.
Well, I think you just got to do it too, man. I mean, what do you got to lose? You have nothing else to sell. Like you said, the fans were there not just to see the Florida Gators, but they were there to see DJ. They were there to see the next chapter of this football program. And there's been several quarterbacks that have come through that were a little young, probably shouldn't have started, but they all got that look. And they had some growing pains, but I remember, was it Dobbs? I think his first game was Alabama or something like that. Mm-hmm. Not ideal, but I'll tell you what, he did pretty damn good, and he gave the Vol fans something to look forward to next week. So, yeah, I think that's the piece right here, because if Mertz comes out here and they have another sloppy performance or, God forbid, a loss, dude, they're going to blame Napier a million times more than they would this last week. So, or if DJ was back there. So it's kind of crazy to me. Let me ask you this. You lived in Florida too. I was just curious. There are no basements in any of the houses in Florida?
No.
Not a single one? Or maybe there is one that we don't know about? Or I try to think, because your house, I went and seen you when you were down there in Florida. You didn't have a basement. My daughter, my oldest, she lived down there. They didn't have a basement. And I started thinking, I was like, damn, I've never realized all the houses don't have basements.
Yeah, there's this thing called elevation, Shane, and there's none there. So as you start digging, you're in a pool of water.
Oh, okay, all right. So you're like, okay.
So you're a mountain man, obviously.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a little bit different story there.
Huh. Well, then who's emailing Coach in the middle of Central Florida? Then we need to find that cat.
Well, exactly. That's why it could just compounds what an idiot that guy is. He doesn't realize there's no basements in the state of Florida, as he's Florida's coach.
Man, that is something else. All right, man. Sorry. Just thank you for answering that riddle for me.
Well, riddle be this, Shane. Ole Miss looks unstoppable, don't they? I mean, my God, 52-3
Yeah.
over MTSU. Dominated every facet of the game. First 8 possessions, Ole Miss scored, aside from taking a knee right before half, but first 8 possessions, scoring on all of them. Jackson Dart-Shea broke the SEC record for consecutive completions, 24 in a row. Finished 25 of 27, 377 yards and a touchdown. Henry Parrott, 165 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, Ole Miss was rocking and rolling. Defense dominant as ever.
Yeah.
And this again, there's nothing to really critique with Ole Miss other than their schedule, and that's not fair because they didn't set it. But we won't really know truly how good they are, Shane, here for a couple more weeks. You know what?
That's what's crazy. We're potentially the best team in the country. Nobody's even talking about. Why? Because they played Furman, because they played MTSU. They got Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, now Kentucky, hell, South Carolina. It may be LSU October before we even figure out, what exactly Ole Miss. Well, South Carolina's kind of back, so maybe October 5th we figure out. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing: it's not fair to them, but sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. But it's tough to sell the brand when we're an hour into that SEC podcast and we're just now talking about you for 2 minutes. Did they look great? Yes. Did they play a shitty team? Absolutely. On to the next week.
Right. So, again, I don't know what more is to say. They dominated. They're awesome.
Yeah.
And they look every bit as good as we hyped them up to be in the offseason. You know what?
Not just throwing either. I thought the rushing attack looked really, really good this week, and that's something that not a lot of people are talking about, but I feel like it could be one of the strongest suits for Ole Miss.
Well, speaking of dominating, though, Shane, someone else we said was quite good, and turned out they're looking at Shane. How about them Tigers of Mizzou, Shane? 38-0 over Buffalo. How about some of these stats for you, Shane? First time Mizzou has had consecutive shutouts since 1935. Remember, we were all wondering, how good is it in this defense? They lost the coordinator, lost all these guys to the NFL. They've got 9 quarters in a row without a score. That's the first time since 1959. They've gone 12 quarters without allowing a touchdown. And just dominant, Shane. Just absolutely dominant on the rushing, 255 to 114. Third downs, they were 9 of 15. Buffalo was 1 of 12. First downs, Mizzou 29, Buffalo 9. Just taking care of business, baby. And Brady Cook, he was back to cooking.
Yeah.
28 of 36, 228 yards. He did have a pick, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So, again, nothing to be concerned about here. I think the biggest positive for Mizzou to start the season is just the fact that their defense looks just as good as it was last year.
Yeah, that's the biggest positive is the defense. That was the concern that a lot of people, not just myself, had coming into this year. And dude, they look good. They look real good. This Mizzou team's going to be – I hate that they didn't get the game day nod. That's one of the things people were talking about. But just keep winning. You're going to get plenty of shots at that.
Shane, you can't be upset with that. You're apologizing to Beamer down there. You know what?
No, I'm just saying they're upset. I'm just
I'm
going to a different Columbia this week, Mike. I still haven't got my invite for that Columbia and beat up Big Mo over there.
Right. But I 100% agree. I mean, I still don't get that one. But hey, it's been, and he's actually come out and confirmed it, Shane. But just to stick the knife in Kentucky a little bit more. College Game Day was headed to Lexington for Georgia, but they pivoted to South Carolina after South Carolina whooped their ass. You know what?
Oh, jeez. Is that were you worried at all? Luther getting banged up?
No, I was not.
Yeah. Okay. That's the only thing about these Buffalo type games. It's like, dude, you don't want to lose Luther during this, you know?
But what I was worried about, Shane, and again, this final score is a little deceiving itself. LSU beats Nicholls 44-21. Shane, the score was 23-21.
Yeah.
Right after halftime, Nicholls busted out a 67-yard touchdown run. Of course, credit LSU dominated after that, 21-0 to close it out. But I mean, this is LSU, Shane. this is supposed to be a playoff contender. That's how the whole damn game should have went. Shout out Garrett Nussmeier. He got banged up in this game, Shane, but he still threw for 302 yards and 6 touchdowns. But here's a concern, Shane, and I said it on our watch along. LSU cannot run the ball.
Nope.
Nicholls, 150 rushing yards. 150 rushing yards, and LSU had 64 against Nicholls. I mean, my God, Shane, this is a disaster. And again, it's just you won a game. It's just week 2. I get it, but you cannot be getting out rushed by damn near the 100 to Nicholls.
No, that's embarrassing, and I give up. We're 2 weeks in. Let's just throw it every time. You know what I'm saying? Let's just give up on the running. Obviously, it ain't going to happen. I mean, hell, Hindenburg or whatever his name is had 150 yards right. I can't remember some German name, but I heard it over and over again. I mean, just sign him, you know, just let him run the football for you. It just blows my mind that LSU cannot run against FCS opponents, Mike. You know, Louisiana Lafayette had a better rushing attack against this team than they did. That's embarrassing. So, yeah, I get it. We had the win. There was some beautiful moments. I think, as far as passes, I think he had, 6 touchdowns throwing or something crazy like that.
6 touchdowns.
So, I mean, there was some nice things in this football game, but all in all, if you really watched it, you're frustrated as an LSU fan. Not saying you lost this game, but you couldn't bench your quarterback in it. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback should have been out at halftime. He's fighting for his life.
Yeah. Shout out to Cousin Russell. He says, LSU's getting beamered this week, Shane.
Oh, my God.
And hell, at this point, that wouldn't be that surprising, would it? Because what did we say at the time? I mean, South Carolina, I don't even know if it's debatable after just 2 weeks. We're just looking at this season. We're talking 2 games in. We are talking elite of elite pass rushers.
Yeah.
And a really good defensive line. You just ran for 60 yards on Nicholls. How in the hell are you going to run on this South Carolina team that Kentucky couldn't run on? You know what I mean? This could be a real issue. I think that's a favorable matchup for South Carolina in that regard. And again, LSU couldn't stop Nicholls from running the football. So how are they going to stop South Carolina from running the football? This could be a nightmare scenario for old Brian Kelly. I mean,
brother,
imagine them lose again. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but no LSU fan is going to accept losing to South Carolina.
No,
and I don't think they accept losing to Southern Cal either. But hell, it happened.
Lose to 2 USCs in 3 weeks, that would suck, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think that would be terrible. But we had some bad injuries in this game too. I mean, that's something that we're not talking about. And
right, Guillory, LSU's main interior defense, really the only one they got, Jacoby and Guillory, out for the season, unfortunately. Due to an injury suffered in this game. Kyron Lacey also got banged up in this game. He came back though, so he's good. But that was not a loss that LSU and hell, we even got to SEC play yet.
What kills me is we're walking off the field at halftime and Coach Kelly is just ringing the kicker. I'm like, is this the guy that we really want to yell at? Like, out of everyone on this team, after all these coaches you got underneath you, this is the guy that needs to be like cool, calm, and collective. I was like, what the hell are you doing, Kelly, here? Jeez.
As the one guy you knew he could jump on his ass, I guess.
I'm worried about it, man. I'm worried that we may have a 30 for 30 coming out of this thing before we know it.
Well, you know where we might get a real 30 for 30, Shane?
Where's that?
This is the biggest turnaround of the season here. One of the
Georgia Bulldogs?
The best story. Vanderbilt Commodores, brother, beat the brakes off Alcorn here, 55-0. And wouldn't you know it, Shane? Vanderbilt ran out of fireworks. They had scored so many damn points in this game. I mean, they did whatever the hell they wanted. And I get it, it's Alcorn, but they only had to punt 2 times in this football game, Shane. Diego Pavia, again, he only had 83 passing yards. That's all they needed, man. They jumped on this team. This was a complete domination, Shane. They held Alcorn to 71 total yards. 1 of 10 on third downs, allowed them 6 first downs. This was a get the hell out of here type game, scoring on special teams, scoring on defense. They did whatever the hell they wanted here. And Vanderbilt, I mean, they're one of the best stories in the league right now.
You know, it's funny. I had like a couple TVs going on. This one's sitting over there in the corner, and I think it was like 48-0 or something like that. And I'm looking up, and I see a interception return for a touchdown. And I was like, oh, look, they're showing like a replay earlier in the game. I'm like, oh, wait, no, that just happened. Vanderbilt scores every time I look at this screen. So, man, what a breath of fresh air that is. Coach coming out here talking about the students coming out representing. This is good, man. We've not had a lot of good news come out of Nashville, and if anything, I've been shitting on them for the entire time we've had this podcast, Mike. But right now, 2-0, 2-0. Vandy.
The over/under was 2.5. Shane
looks pretty damn good. They look pretty damn good, brother.
How about this one from cousin Carl? I appreciate you, cousin Carl. Shane, ration your bourbon. Because you ain't getting none this year unless you spot them 50 down there in Lexington. You know what?
I was afraid the old spread was going to come out at sooner or later. So let's just do cheap bourbon this year. You know?
All right. How about this one, Shane? Big bounce back here, as expected, but taking care of business after disappointment to start out the season. But A&M beats McNeese 52-10. And Wigman looked a lot better. That was the whole key to this damn football game. Wanted to get Connor Wigman going. He had himself one hell of a day. Again, I get it. It's McNeese. But with the way he showed at the beginning, I mean, there was talk of him getting benched. He was 11 of 14, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 333 yards. Limited McNeese to 279 total yards. So, again, you're not going to learn much from a ball game like this, but this is exactly what you wanted to see from the Maggies. It's just a nice bounce-back performance.
And when I saw Notre Dame go up there and get beat, I was like, golly, when it rains, it pours. But I'm with you, brother. I feel like A&M really tried to establish their identity this week. And if they could keep building off of that, Connor looked really good compared to last week. And again, I know the competition here, but if they can build off that, Mike, I feel like A&M, that's the problem, is we expected A&M, or some people expected A&M just hit the ground running. This is a new team, new coaches, new players. There's going to be some growing pains, and starting out with a top 25 team's not easy, but I feel like we've learned off week 1. We're building off week 2. A&M's going to be good. They just got to work the kinks out.
Right, and again, there's teams that struggled this week, Shane. So, I mean, this is what you wanted to see going in. You got this huge showdown now for your season and for theirs at Florida. We'll talk about that all week, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But you had to get your quarterback right for this matchup.
Yeah, you got to. Absolutely. Now this game, boy, this is going to be a intriguing football game right there, huh?
Right. So we'll get to it in just a second. But one more, Shane. I mean... They're favorites to win it all, but again, you're playing Tennessee Tech. I live in Tennessee. I don't even know where that is. Do you, Shane? But you beat them 48-3. Your quarterback threw 5 touchdowns. You did whatever the hell you wanted. You dominated this football game. Nearly 7 yards per carry. This is exactly what you want to see from them dogs. And thank you, Kirby, for showing mercy here when you probably could have scored about 200 points. You know what?
Tennessee Tech's a place you go and you're put on probation because you just drank the entire time at the University of Tennessee, you know? You're like, all right, I'm going to go straighten up. Don't know any of these guys. Half the people in your class is 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's Tennessee Tech. So,
and consecutive games, Georgia has allowed just 3 points. I mean, defense is humming going into the Kentucky game where they can't score at all. So I'd be surprised if you gave up 3 to old Kentucky.
Man, this is going to be a good one, though. On the road, Georgia, I feel like they have quietly been having an awesome season. I mean, we're, an hour and 13 minutes in. We're just now talking about potential national champs, Georgia Bulldogs. But, the cupcakes are over. Their schedule ramps up right now.
And appreciate you, Carl. He says Tennessee Tech is in Cookeville. So there you go. You all learned something as I did in real time here. All right, last thing here, Shane. Oh, real quick. Shout out Cousin Nathan. Just became a member of the channel.
Hey,
appreciate you,
welcome
Cousin
to
Nathan.
the family.
But week 3 opening lines.
Yeah.
Buddy, we got some good ones here. You ready to guess some opening lines?
Let's do it.
All right, that game we were just talking about, Georgia on the road at Kentucky. Should be college game day, but Kentucky did not take care of business. What's the opening line, Shane? Georgia at Kentucky.
Georgia 24.
Georgia 22.
Ooh.
So pretty close.
Yeah.
How about this one, Shane? This may be the best game in the count. Well, I don't know. There's a couple, but Texas A&M at Florida.
Oh man, brother. Give me Texas A&M 3.5.
You're just too good this year, Shane. It's Texas A&M 4.
Okay.
So just a half off there. And any surprise that Florida's not? I guess not. But Florida not being favored. No surprise they're in the swamp.
No, I mean maybe if they started the best quarterback, but since we're going, no, just kidding.
Cousin Kyle says, please, Shane, keep hating on them Aggies. Please show no love. So pick that Florida just for Cousin Kyle. How about Alabama at Wisconsin?
Ooh, give me Alabama 12.
Ooh, close. Alabama 15.
Okay.
How about college game day? Game of the week. LSU at South Carolina. Shane will be there.
Yeah.
If you missed it, he's going to be tailgating. He's going to be apologizing to every Gamecock down there. Who's favored here?
South Carolina 18, 19, right? Beamer's still coaching over there, right?
Yes, he is.
No, seriously, give me LSU. I think they'll give LSU the nod 7.5.
Oh, damn. You about nailed it, Shane. LSU 7.
Oh, okay.
How about Boston College at Missouri?
Ooh, Boston College at Mizzou.
Both undefeated.
No game day though, so they must really suck. Boston College. Now I've seen one game they were pretty good in, but I'll go Mizzou. Give me Mizzou 18.5.
Close. 15 in favor of Mizzou. How about Vandy at Georgia State?
Vandy.
That state changes that line quite a bit.
Yeah,
you know?
quite a bit. Give me Vandy. Give me Vandy by 21.
Just 8.
What?
That may be a lock of the week
Come
candidate
on,
right
man.
there. You know what?
Never thought I'd lock Vandy so quick, so early.
How about Kent State at Tennessee?
Oh, my God. Tennessee 55.
Close, 47. Man, it must feel good to be a champ here, Shane.
Oh, man. Get out of there at halftime and some Calhouns. Yeah.
How about Tulane at Oklahoma?
Oh, this one probably going to be closer. Give me Oklahoma, man, 17.
14.
Oh, jeez.
Even less. You know what? UAB at Arkansas.
Arkansas, 20.
Damn, about nailed it. 21.
Hell yeah, man.
How about Ole Miss at Wake Forest? Okay. This is their toughest non-conference game, by the way.
Is it? I don't even know Wake Forest. So now that you said that, let me bring it down a little bit. Ole Miss 48.
No, Ole Miss 22.
Oh, okay. Oh, man.
Could be another
whatever.
lock right there.
Yeah, that one's intriguing.
How about UTSA, Texas San Antonio at Texas?
Ooh, Texas 35.
You're too good, Shane. 33. So you about nailed it. Toledo at Mississippi State.
Holy Toledo. Oh, good. I don't know about Toledo. Give me Mississippi State, though. 11.
10.
Oh,
Right,
damn.
you're right on the money. And then last one, New Mexico at Auburn.
Well, they got them last year, so let's go New Mexico. It's at Auburn, so let's go. I still give Auburn the nod here, but not by much. I'd say Auburn by 19.
Auburn by 24.
Okay. Maybe I'll lock them Lobos down.
Real quick, Shay, we got a couple donations here from Blake May. Is Alex Golish Kentucky or Auburn's next head coach?
Kentucky.
Most likely Kentucky. Okay. Cousin Tom says Shane's got a lot of apologizing to do to us.
That's right.
Cousin Marty says Tennessee's a real deal. Congrats, cousins. Appreciate you, Cousin Marty. Russell, we already did Russell, but I'll just reiterate it. LSU gets beamered this week. I love that one. How about Cousin PJ? He says, I'm looking forward to that Texas T cutting that excuse of a goatee you got there. Hook 'em. And then Jeremy, no comment here, but he just gave us $10. Appreciate you, cousin Jeremy. How about cousin Derby? Can Mizzou go 7-0 when they meet Alabama? Hell yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Especially now that we've seen, the biggest test is going to be A&M. Well, maybe Vanderbilt. Hell.
Yeah, I think they should be 7-0. It's not like can they be. They should be 7-0 going into that football game.
Right. And then, that's all we got. So, hey, all right, we appreciate all that. We went a little bit long on this one, but there was a lot of action to get to, Shane. Any closing thoughts before we hop off the line?
No, again, I apologize, Coach Beamer. One Shane to another. That's one thing about them Shanes. They easily forgive. So I'll be out there, like I said, Saturday. So if you got your tailgate spot and you can, as long as it's close, man. I don't want to find out you're tailgating 5 miles away. I'm probably going to miss that one. But I'm going to be down there, drink some cold beers, talk to some Gamecock fans and LSU fans too. I know LSU travels well, so you can't miss me. My fat ass will be carrying the "I'm an idiot" sign, maybe ringing a bell, wearing a pair of Pit Viper sunglasses or something. So I can't wait to see everybody out there, and we should have fun. But hey, 2 weeks in, I think the action's getting a little bit tighter next week. So so soak it up, man. I mean, it won't be long. It feels like it's going by so damn fast. But tune in tomorrow. Steve-O's on Monday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'll be off. But Tuesday, I'll see you guys then. But be sure to tune in, have those notifications on. So if we go live with something hot, never know. Coach Stoops may get fired or something, and we'll be the first ones to react. Obviously not Beamer, because Beamer's never getting fired. She can get an extension. We should do it.
Well said, Cousin Shane. We appreciate you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.